Hello and welcome. I'm Bill Grimsman and I'm a licensed mental health counselor in Seattle, Washington. I would like to offer a view into my paradigm that has evolved over the past 30 years. I recently watched a video about Cleric Hildegard, who later became sainted. She lived more than 1,000 years ago and was a woman light years ahead of her time. Someone who found her voice at a time when women literally had none. She found a way to commune with the divine through tonal sounds and song. This is, in and of itself, miraculous. She, however, went further and through divinely inspired insights built a treasure chest of herbal remedies, many of which defy the understanding of science as we know it today. We live in a time when instead of just women's voices being held in contempt, many ideas, especially those that are cutting edge or unprovable by science's limited measuring standards, are often ignored or even condemned. The field of psychology, unfortunately, is no exception. I'm speaking to you in 2020 during the middle of the worldwide coronavirus pandemic. My heart goes out to each of you who has been hurt in one brutal way or another by this devastation. I also want to acknowledge my gratitude for the space this virus has provided us. We have room for reflection right now. Some of us are waiting for authorities or the government to find ways to make things better again. My belief is that we have experienced the end of an epoch and are at the threshold of creating a new one. I further believe an authoritative body, while providing an invaluable modicum of support, cannot fully resolve this for us. It is therefore incumbent upon each of us to find our voice and offer it to the collective. If each voice is a lantern, then the more voices we have, the more clearly we will be able to find our way forward toward a better future. To this end, I offer my voice to describe a life-affirming, psychologically based, and divinely embellished way to connect more fully with life. The field of psychology has been an interest of mine since high school back in the 1970s. Over the decades, I've discovered small insights that describe the human condition with greater and greater clarity. At the time of this filming, I have crafted a complete modality that I believe will continue to evolve and grow, not only through my endeavors, but by way of the many who consider what I am about to say and then add their voice. Because of the litigious society in which we currently live, I feel obliged to also say that you may find portions of your own beliefs or paradigms embedded in with what I'm about to say. Truth is universal and not owned by any individual. I therefore declare that this complete body of work represents decades of research, observation, and reflection that I've undertaken on my own. So after that introduction, I would like to dive into a modality, and hopefully we can have some fun with it too, so it's not just boring, dry content. I'm going to begin with the cornerstone. The cornerstone of my modality is our life energy. It is at the core of our being. It is the place that we go to as we make decisions, as we consider choices, as we're able to perceive choices. When our life energy is full, we see nuanced, clever, fifth options that have otherwise been hidden. When our life energy drops down near empty, we go into black and white thinking, dichotomous thinking, yes or no, fixed or broken. And this makes a lot of sense because from a scientific perspective, the limbic part of our brain is primal. It is yes or no, fight or flight. And the neocortex is looking for clever, advanced ways of doing things. And both of those pieces are still with us in our bodies today. So how do we create a healthy abundance of life energy? How do we do that? Well, I believe in a tripod, and who knows, maybe there'll be 4 legs at some point as this continues to evolve and unfold. But right now I see a tripod. There is what I call healthy living, and that involves some body movement of some kind. It's important that it be congruent with who you are, not forced. What we eat, are we getting proper rest? It's things that we have to give something to in order to get something back. For instance, you go to the gym, you walk in, very few people say while they're lifting that is a peak experience. A few might, and that's fine for them, that's accurate for them. Most people say when I walk out of the gym, I'm so glad I went, I feel more awake, I feel more alive. That's an example of healthy living. Self-care is another leg of the tripod, and those are things that bring life energy in directly while we're doing them. Things that nurture us, things that make us laugh, things that comfort us, things that inspire us. It's activities and ways of being that we can participate in where we don't have to give a lot to it. Simply, while we are engaged in it, it is feeding us. Music, dance. It's going to look different for each person, and that's our task, if you will, is to find self-care activities, ways of being that are congruent with who we are. And the third leg is time in nature. The natures of rhythm are the same as our nature of our body. Our body is made up of the earth, the physical structure of us, and it just makes intuitive and now scientific sense that when we are in nature, we are being rebalanced to our default correct setting, speaking in scientific parlance. All of these 3 legs bring life energy in their own way. So that begs the question, how do I find what my tripod looks like? Who am I? My response to that is, each of us is born with our core, our truest, deepest whole self. Some people are born introverts, some people are born extroverts, some people are born mathematically inclined, some people are born artistically inclined, some people are born musically inclined. And it is, things work so much better when we can mine and farm and distill and get down to that core essence of who we are. And so rather than having the mind try and direct you there, if you are building your self-care, finding things that you enjoy, finding things that are meaningful, finding things that inspire you, the more you do that, it is revealing aspects of your core, true, deepest whole self. And it is awareness, uncensored whole awareness, a place below the mind. There's a big difference between thinking and feeling. Thinking is a mind activity, and thoughts are in a file, and when we're confronted with a situation that we have to form a response to, our mind goes back through the files and says, oh, this is the correct response, and then we implement it. Well, that's not now based, that's historically based. And it may be right or it may not, because each now situation is unique in and of itself. The truest answer to understanding a situation in any present moment is ideally, doesn't have to be, it's ideally a connection between our thoughts and our feelings. Feelings are uncensored self-honesty. They are pure, They're not defined by the past, by our parents, by our peers, by political memes. They just show up as they are. HeartMath has done research into this and has found that when the heart, number one, has like 40,000 receptor cells. And when the heart is resonating at the same frequency as our mind, and they are working in tandem together, that we get the clearest, truest, best answers for ourselves. There's a lot more I could say about this. It is about being in the moment as often as we can, recognizing that we are imperfect, wonderful human beings as we are. It's not a place that we arrive at. It is a journey from doing, which is primarily about thinking, to being, which is more about the intersection between our mind and our feelings. When we're able to access that place, it is our truest compass forward. Awareness begins in our body. Tingling sensations, emptiness, tension in our neck. It gives us hundreds of clues. If we ignore those clues, then it becomes a feeling: anxious, tense, depressed, frustrated. And if we continue to ignore those and press forward, then it becomes a psychologically identified disorder, depression, anxiety, because our being will demand that we hear it. And it keeps upping the stakes until we do. So I have found that the best way forward is to deconstruct that, move down to the most basic awarenesses, being in the moment, caring for ourselves, making healthy choices, spending time in nature. The more we live into that, our being knows how to balance itself. It knows what it needs. It knows what works for us. And the more we grow that awareness, the better decisions we're going to make that are right for us. And the better it's going to serve our life and the lives of those around us. There's a lot more I could say about this. I think this is an organic place. It's like a cliff note of a very, very rich modality. And I think I will leave it here for right now. And thank you for being on this journey of listening to it and considering it. And wherever you are at in your life, I wish each and every one of you the very best. Thank you.